Hello everybody, my name is Polly Hoganson, it's OurVentura.com, and on today's show we have the fabulous MB Hanrahan, artist, muralist, sculptor, designer, all-around groovy chick, and my good friend. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and start talking about maybe your roots. You were raised in LA.
Yes, I was. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and fortunately enough, my father is was dead.
Okay.
But Jack Hanrahan was a television writer. He was a writer,
Right.
professional, and so we moved to California so that he could pursue his TV writing. And I tell you, I couldn't have been happier moving to a warm climate such as Southern California. So I basically grew up there.
Yes.
And
one thing I found out about your dad is he wrote for Laugh-In, the
did.
TV show Laugh-In.
Yes, and Mad Magazine and several
Wow.
like variety type programs, Sonny and Cher show, Bobby Darin show.
Yeah.
In the 70s and
Sure.
into the 80s, and also wrote cartoons for Hanna-Barbera. So
Nice.
Yeah,
So
very
that
funny
was
guy.
a really interesting childhood, and your mom was a model.
She was in her younger days.
Sure.
In Cleveland, Ohio. She and her sisters were, and good singers too. Very
Wow.
beautiful woman. So I was very much encouraged once they saw that I was into art. I was
Sure.
one of the very fortunate people that was entirely encouraged.
Yeah, so coming from that artistic background, you moved into a painting and...
Yeah, well, I grew up, going to the sets, and
Yes.
I would say that seeing the, reading scripts and then seeing a set,
Right.
and then sitting in the audience, and then watching it on television, and then as a young adult back in Los Angeles, because I moved away
Right.
to go to school, and then came back, and going to, in those days, billboards were hand-painted, and seeing big billboards, and
Right.
also as a kid driving down Sunset Boulevard, I was intrigued by large art and or art that was disseminated publicly, because I could see
Right.
how the set looked up close, and then I could see how it looked on TV, and I knew a lot of people had seen that. Or my dad drawing pictures and writing things and then seeing it in a magazine or a greeting card.
Right.
And so I believe that the large public items that anyone could see, because
Right.
I was also taken to museums, and I was aware that a lot more people drove down Sunset Boulevard and looked at the big billboards than probably ever went to the museum.
Right.
Or watched TV. And that's not to put down museums, but even as a kid, I was all, wow, having stuff out in the public or something that you make and then it's disseminated to the public is you get more exposure.
Well,
so I would say that definitely encouraged me. I didn't know it.
Right.
And painting murals on my walls, and then
Right,
having my
so
mother
that's
say, "Oh yeah, I'll buy you the paint then." So those the combinations of things.
So a natural progression was murals.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that brought you to Ventura? Is that
Well,
something?
it brought me to Ventura. I came to Ventura in a roundabout way of moving back to the San Fernando Valley in '86, after being gone basically since 1976.
Right.
And I came up to Ventura to visit a friend who was a homeboy of, grew up in
Right.
Santa Paula, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And he showed me Art City Studios. This was Eric Richards, the sculptor that I met actually up at Humboldt State when I was doing my master's degree up there. And I saw Art City, and I saw the Avenue area and how close it was to the beach, and I was preparing to move my studio to downtown Los Angeles, and I was all, I was doing a lot of, scenic work, some, set work, window display work at the
Right.
time in Los Angeles, all mixed media, doing props for TV shows. And even though I was working pretty steadily down there, I felt that one day in driving back from Ventura that I'd rather be driving to Ventura home and driving to Los Angeles to go to work.
Right.
And Art City amazed me. It was a kind of open air and closed studios at the time, and so close to the beach. And I was just all, where can I find a more beautiful place to have a studio? I couldn't think of it.
Right.
That was affordable for a young sculptor. So that's really why I moved.
Well, what murals around town that we would recognize that I know Tortilla Flats is something.
Well, that a lot of people have seen that, and I
Yes.
did that with my partner Moses Mora on that one. It was done twice, and it's permanent home now is, ironically, where the 101 freeway passes over Figueroa Street, right near the fairgrounds.
Right.
So most people just drive by and see it, and it is the second time around. The first time we did it, it was facing the fairgrounds, and so and obviously, or maybe not so obviously, it's a mural that talks about the neighborhood that was there when
right.
the freeway displaced them. So that's why I say ironic. That's one that people see. There are murals on the exterior of my art studio now.
Yes.
Because I went from Art City to Stoneworks to now Bell Arts.
Right.
On the Avenue. And Bell Arts Factory. I was fortunate enough to be able to be invited to paint murals around there. I have some very beautiful murals in Zoe's Cafe.
Right.
On Santa Clara.
Both inside and outside.
Yes, both inside and outside. Thank you very much. I probably have murals at least 5 or 6 schools in the Ventura Unified School District right now. There's a couple of them at the Ventura College Bookstore, and some other buildings on campus. That's what's coming to mind right now.
Yeah, because they see your name, but I want people to see a face to your name.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I would say, and right now in progress, right
yes.
hot off the pan, is I am working at the rear entrance of the E.P. Foster Library.
Yes.
I'm very grateful about that. I privately funded, but now it's going to be a public artwork for the benefit of Ventura.
Right, and the images are classic paintings or
classic
pictures.
Images that I would say you find in almost all literature, as in all literature through the ages.
Right.
Castle. And it is the entrance for the young person's section of the library. So,
right.
Anything you'd see in fairy tales, fables, classic stories, magical images, kids recognize.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're also a designer,
I am.
And you have designed some T-shirts for very famous singers.
Yes, I have.
And bands.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Jimmy Buffett is one of them.
Yes. I'm very fortunate to have gotten that gig. And
yes.
again, it was a challenge. Like, what
right.
can you come up with? And so I designed the images that show up on his T-shirts.
Right.
Thanks, Jimmy.
And also for the band Chicago.
Yes, I have. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
That's nice.
Let's talk about some unusual artwork that you've done,
okay.
and that's the art cars.
Mm-hmm. Well, right now I don't have any. I may have an art car driving around that someone bought after I donated it away. I don't know if the Volvo de Morto is still driving around. It was
right.
a Volvo painted with skulls. But I'm currently working with Steve Knopf on a large mobile television set that's going to be at this year's Burning Man.
Right.
So I'm a partner in that one.
Sure.
I have done art cars through the years, and by art cars, it's like basically usually a donated car. And a couple times I've gotten to work with young people on them. I did a trailer for the city of Ventura last year, so you might see that driving around. It's very colorfully painted, and for mobile art supplies and
right.
sports supplies. And a few individuals drive around in my art cars, that they donated for a class of mine. So I would say pretty soon I'll have to do another one, but right. I'm just busy right now.
So tell us what is maybe some of the unusual materials that you've worked with in some of your installations. What's the most unusual?
Okay, I've done some fiberglass on the art cars. That's not that unusual. One method that I have developed and it's used in murals here and there is actually building relief structures out of a metal mesh and then coating it with screen and rubberizing it and then painting it, like Pacific High School has some sharks kind of popping out of the face of the mural.
Right.
So
it's like a 3D
yes,
effect.
absolutely. And relief work, so it's flat on the back and popping out. I actually love that kind of thing. I've carved foam, done carved foam covered with polyurethane.
Right.
It's expensive. That's the only problem, and toxic. But
right.
Sometimes the toxicity can be handled with the proper area to work on. But I'm going to my next mural at Bell Arts is going to have some dimensional items. So I suspect there'll be a combination of metal and mesh. I'm thinking fish coming out of the wall, but
wow.
it's a work in progress.
Sure.
Up here still.
Now, you've just recently completed something at Buena High School with some of the kids there.
Thank you. Yes, it's a mural on actual tile, so a fired ceramic tile mural. So I've only done a few of those, but they wear better than paint on the wall.
Sure.
So I'm into expanding.
So you actually take tiles and they paint them, and then you glaze them, fire them, and then put them on the wall?
Yes.
Wow.
So not like mosaic, which is little tiny chunks. This is basically doing a mural, but using glaze and working with the ceramic tile. And yeah, this last one is 15 feet long, and it's on the inside of Buena. And then one we did 2 years ago, you can see when you're going up Mills Avenue, it's on the outside of Anacapa Middle School. That was the first one. So, and I also have to say at this point in time that almost so many of the projects that we've been discussing have been grants.
Yes.
So right now I'm just making a public thank you to the many different resources and sources, because funding it's always a challenge. I am not independently wealthy. I don't have any other job except for art jobs, and it's like the networking, such as working with you and being creative, that allows artists like myself to continue to make public art in a small town that's going through just what everybody's going through right now. So I just want to put it out there that it is possible, and that public art has to continue, and by any means necessary, as long as it's ethical. And you know, so thank you, all those that are helping people like me do art work in Ventura right now. I could not be doing it on my own.
You do great work, full of humor, very unique, very different point of view. So what do you think your art philosophy is? Is there a message behind any of this, or talk
you know, I would have to say that I come from pop art. I would say that I come from a pop art sensibility, in that popular culture gives me a lot of the not only does popular culture float my boat, per se, by being a public artist, but as a kid, looking at cereal boxes and reading them, and then going to the museum in the 60s and seeing like a painting of a Spam can flying through space, I made the connection that what was around me was just as equally a source, a serious, humorous but serious source of artistic inspiration as the past. So I like to always point out that the first thing that you will see in an art history book usually is paintings on walls, cave paintings. And that I just happen to be someone who channels that energy, as anachronistic as it may be, because really we're in a computer age, an electronic age, and here I am painting on a wall. How old-fashioned is that? But deriving my inspiration from posters, consumer items, jokes, even low humor, bubblegum stickers in coin bubblegum machines. I like work on that ends up on the streets and is derived from the streets. So and the humor, because to make people laugh, it just
or bring a smile to their face.
Exactly. I feel that as much as just like having art on the streets, I'm interested in people engaging. And not everyone's going to go to a gallery, not everyone's going to go to a museum, or they might go and just feel like, what am I doing here, or even take an art appreciation class, but everybody walks down the street and drives their car around somewhere, or flips open a book, or wears a t-shirt with a design on it, and I just assume that be my gallery. So hopefully there's a long answer to a short question.
I really appreciate you being here today, and we're just about out of time.
Great.
But what's your website so people can go check you out?
Okay, it's www.mbuniverse, just the way it sounds, all one word, .com, and mbuniverse@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with me.
Thanks so much, MB. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
And that is it for OurVentura.com today. And thank you so much. My name is Polly Hoganson, and have a great day.